What's up, VC? What's up, vinyl community? It's Dan hanging out with you for Dan's Vinyl Channel, and this is a contest video. It's a contest video I'm so glad I got to get in on because I thought I was running out of time, guys. Checked it out yesterday. I'm like, sweet, I've got time to do it. All right, so this is for Beth over at B-Sides. If you haven't subscribed to her channel, you need to. Subscribe below. Beth's cool. She's a fellow Missourian. She's also really into movies, really into TV shows, pop culture, pop Funko Pops, pop vinyl, into all the stuff, 80s, everything. So you need to check out her channel. She does some nightly spins. Those are always good. So anyway, yeah, just head out, sub her below, Beth over at B-Sides Records. You'll be happy you did. And I wanted to get in on her contest. So she's running a contest, and it's a strange contest. And so she's got your normal kind of rules. You got to be subscribed. You got to make a video response. She's going to ship this internationally. So all my friends from down under or across the pond, you guys could all get in on this. And the contest runs until the 21st. So the drawing is going to be after that. So winner's going to receive Stranger Things 3 vinyl soundtrack and a bonus album. Looking forward to that, of course. So, love me some Stranger Things. You guys see? Got the old Stranger Things ball cap. Yeah, you guys see me wearing this thing often. Now, please, in the comments, just as a favor to me, please do not spoil the end of Season 3. I still haven't seen all of Season 3. I've been kind of treating it, and I think this is just something that happens to me without even thinking about it. I've been treating it as if they've been released weekly or something. I don't know. I just I haven't had a lot of time to see it. I've been having some work. I've got work going on. I've got other stuff happening. You know, it's summertime. We got to get stuff done. So it's just been kind of a sparse. Haven't had a chance to just sit down. Went on vacation. Haven't had a chance to sit down and binge it like you're probably supposed to. But I'm just, I guess I'm kind of enjoying it in the 80s style of having to wait a week between every episode. And I think I'm actually running late on it. So anyway, as summer is winding down, this is a contest that's really revolves around summertime. And being an 80s kid, and this is all 80s, summertime 80s. So being an 80s kid, this is perfect for me. So with no further ado, let's get started. Favorite board game? Without a doubt, 80s. In the 80s, favorite board game, Hero Quest. Without a doubt, Hero Quest. It's a great, role-playing board game. And unfortunately, I do not have it. So, if any of you are at a garage sale and you see Hero Quest, or you're at a thrift store and you see Hero Quest and it's on the cheap, been looking for it for years. I'm trying to avoid having to spend a lot of money for it. So if you guys ever see Hero Quest. Now my favorite board game is Blockus. I don't know if you guys ever played Blockus. I don't have it here with me. But I do have some games, but we'll talk about those here in a minute. I do not have Blockus here with me. Blockus is awesome. And they just made like a Blockus for 2. So now you can have 2 people playing Blockus. You don't have to have 3 or 4. Because it's really only fun if you have the full 4 people playing Blockus. So that's my favorite board game. Back in the 80s, it was Hero Quest. Today, it's Blockus. Love it. So now we got to share 5 favorite 80s songs, bands, or artists. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with songs. Okay? But this is Beth's channel. So you're going to see a soundtrack or 2 in here. So let's get going on favorite 80s songs. So I had to think. I have a bunch of songs that are my favorite songs from the 80s that are my favorites now. We're not playing that way. I'm going back to when I was a kid in the 80s and what my favorite songs were when I was a kid in the 80s. So what were they? I had a fascination with this lady, and I think it's funny because I just had this fascination with this lady when I was a kid, and this was pure woman, man. This was a diva of the 80s, and her name, Tina Turner. I I just fell in love with Tina Turner immediately when I was a kid. And one of my favorite 80s songs is on this compilation that I have, which, you guys, this is one of the best compilations, if you can find this. It's MTV's Rock and Roll to Go. If you guys ever see this comp out and about, this is fantastic. There's so much cool stuff on that. I think I might have shown this comp before. But on here is Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do With It? One of my favorite songs from the 1980s, from one of the loveliest ladies of the 1980s. Miss Tina Turner. How can you go wrong with Tina? Also, she was in there was an 80s movie, Thunderdome. She was in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Great movie. And Tina Turner could act, in my opinion. It's been a long time since I've seen Thunderdome, so I don't know. It's been literally probably 15, 20 years since I saw that. So, one of my second favorite songs was from a soundtrack, and it was La Bamba, and it was from the La Bamba soundtrack by Los Lobos, Richie Valens movie, 1980s, and I've got some notes on when this actually came out. So let me confer with my notes here, and I'll let you guys know. I believe this was a summer movie. I want to say it was. So La Bamba, yes, released July 24th, 1987. And if you guys remember, if you guys were alive in the 80s, number one, and if you paid attention to the radio in the 80s, which radio was a huge thing in the 80s, you will know that this song was played relentlessly. And I drove my mother absolutely crazy with it. And La Bamba, one of my favorite songs of the 80s when I was in the 80s. Now, I've heard that song way too many times. But always a great soundtrack to put on every once in a while. So we've got another 80s soundtrack here. This one, however, was not a summer movie, and I remember the first time I saw this movie. This came out November 27th, 1985, and I remember going to see it at a charity. The movie theater was having bring a can of food for people down on their luck at Christmas time, and you could get a ticket to go see this. It was like a Saturday morning show. And so my mother and I went and saw it, and that is Rocky IV. And if you were alive in the 80s, you also know that Eye of the Tiger, which is on this soundtrack, was absolutely a song of the 80s and one of my favorite songs of the 80s. Now, also, special mention here, No Easy Way Out by Robert Tepper. Ugh, amazing song. It's Robert Tepper's No Easy Way Out. You're not going to get much better, and you're not going to get much more 80s than this. This movie, I don't know, man. The Russians, all cheering for Rocky at the end. Rocky talking into the microphone, gave his speech. I mean, everybody in that audience when I went and saw that was just standing up and cheering, and it was an experience. In the 80s, I'm telling you guys, Rocky IV was a huge 80s event. Really. East versus West, man against man. And the burning heart just about to burst. All right. So anyway, yeah. So that would be Eye of the Tiger, was that one. Also, 1980s, one of my favorite songs is Centerfold by Jay Giles Band. Now, I remember this video because I want to say that the drummer had a snare, and they had filled up the snare with milk, and he went bam, and the milk went everywhere. So, Angel is the Centerfold is one of the songs on this album. This album's a lot of fun. It's nice power pop. It's got some great organ in there. It's just it's a fun album. Jay Giles Band, Freeze Frame, and one of my favorite songs of the 80s when I was a kid was on here, and that is Centerfold. And last but definitely not least, we go back to, I want to say 1987, and this record from an Aussie band called Midnight Oil, Diesel and Dust. Beds Are Burning. I remember the video on MTV. We thought this dude was so cool, the singer. And I can't, his name escapes me right now. But he had a hat on. He kind of looked like Freddy Krueger. It's just an incredible video, incredible song. Beds Are Burning, definitely one of my favorites. In the 80s, as a kid, really loved that song. I still love that song. But I also like some other stuff on that. I like the deeper cuts on that record, too. Diesel and Dust is a great album. If you get a chance, do it. All right, so my favorite summer movies. So I've got 3 pieces of media. Now, they're not 3 records. I've got 1 record. But I can't talk about the 80s without introducing this other media. So let's get the record out of the way first. All right, so my favorite summer movies. I've got 3 of them. My absolute favorite summer movie of all time was released in 1983 on May 25th. My father took me to see Return of the Jedi. Now, I am a huge Star Wars nerd. I don't know, I've never really talked about it. I am a Star Wars nerd. This, in my opinion, is my favorite. This is the best Star Wars film. It's probably because my dad took me to see it. It's probably because it's one that I was old enough to remember. I don't remember really. I think they may have taken me to see Empire Strikes Back, but I definitely was not old enough to remember it. I remember seeing this in the movie theater. So, just a beautiful soundtrack to Return of the Jedi, and you've got all the cool Return of the Jedi songs on this one. So you've got the Ewok celebration and finale. You've got Lopty Neck, which is the song that big lip lady sang in Jabba's palace. Amazing film. What else can I say? It's 80s Star Wars. I mean, that's 80s to me. Now, this next 2, I've got some media to show you. So, other favorite summer movies, and you guys, being an 80s kid, I cannot talk about the 80s, and I can't think really properly about the 80s without bringing these up. So when I was a kid, everybody loved a movie called Top Gun, and it came out May 16th, 1986. So that was a summer film. And although I don't have the Top Gun soundtrack, I have the next best thing or better thing. Might even be a better thing. Because in the 80s, you cannot talk about the 80s, guys, without talking about the Nintendo Entertainment System, which I am not only into vinyl records, but I collect Nintendo Entertainment System games. And Top Gun, being one of the most common games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, is a ton of fun. It's great until you try to land the plane. Then it's all over. But until that point, this is an amazing game. Great graphics, great sound, fantastic stuff. Top Gun on the Nintendo Entertainment System. One of my favorite summer movies of the 1980s. Another favorite summer movie of the 1980s. Cannot talk about the 1980s without thinking about a certain actor. I've already shown one action hero of the 1980s, Mr. Sylvester Stallone. You have to show his counterpart, sometimes his competition. I think these guys had a friendly competition, but Arnold Schwarzenegger. And on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Predator. This came out, let me check my notes here as I'm holding this up, June 12th, 1987, Predator was released. Little boys went crazy all over the place. This game sucks. It's hard. It's annoying. I still play it. It's got great graphics. But man, some of these games, these Nintendo Entertainment System games, are punishing. This is one of them. Frustrating. Break the controller. Throw the controller. Throw the game, take it out, throw the system, get aggravated. Predator for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I love the game. I just wish it was easier to play. So I don't play with a game. They call it Game Genie. Was that what those things were? I don't have one of those for the NES. I've been out of NES collecting. I need to get back into it, but I have not seen any at any thrift stores, garage sales, anything. And when I do see them, it's just your average stuff, just your average junk. So, also just a special mention here. This definitely based on Geiger's Alien, which Aliens was a 1980s movie. I do not have it, but you can't talk about the Nintendo Entertainment System hardly without bringing up, down, left, right, B, A, start, and that is Contra. So this is kind of loosely based on Alien. It's got the Geiger-esque kind of artwork going on there and in the game. Fun game. Hard game if you don't use the code. I always use a Konami code. So, yeah. Another Konami game there, Top Gun. All right. So, I just had to talk about my NES stuff. So, but yeah, I haven't seen any NES games. It's kind of disappointing. It's kind of depressing. I used to see them at garage sales all the time. I think a lot of people moved on, throwing them away, or I keep waiting to get that score of NES games. I've got about 75 or 80 games as of right now. They're just in a box underneath my bed. I need to get a man cave set up or something. Have my old school TV and everything. So the next thing is to tell a strange experience, and I know this is getting a little long, but this is a fun contest. Thanks for doing this, Beth, because I could talk about the 80s all day. So at the end of the 1980s, in 1990, we moved from St. Louis to a rural town in the middle of Missouri. And it's in Montgomery County. And the home that we lived in was built in the 1800s. And it had been it was actually one of the first old houses in the city. And as far as like number 5, when we talked about the favorite summer movies, number 5 is Tell You a Strange Experience. Well, being impressionable, probably. I'm not sure how much of this is like generated from my brain, but this house was totally haunted. I was completely convinced when I was 15, 16, 17, 18 when we lived there that this place was completely haunted. Strange experiences were doppelgangers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what a doppelganger is, but it's a ghost that takes on the form of another person. So there was several doppelganger experiences there, to where I would see somebody, and then you would turn around and that person would be in the other room. This happened a few times. Also, in that house, I was convinced that something was constantly watching me. You just kind of had that feeling that something was constantly watching. Now, could the wiring have been bad? Could this be explained away with modern science? Possibly. But living through those experiences, and that's really the last time that I lived in a haunted house, quote unquote. So I haven't had any experiences since like those experiences. But the doppelganger, my mother would yell at me, say, "Turn off your TV upstairs. You're wasting energy. You're running up the electric bill." So I'd run upstairs, no TV on. You could totally hear like there was a TV going on up there. Now, this could have been like some kind of crazy echo thing that happened between upstairs and downstairs. I don't know. I just know it was a strange experience. And also, we had the Ouija boards and we played that, and that was just stupid. So, anyway, strange experience. Yeah, running into what I think is my sister's boyfriend in this room, turning around and seeing him here. That was a strange experience, and not just one experience that I had in that house was strange. So, anyway, as we move on to the bonus. Do I do the bonus? I thought about it. I thought about not doing it. I want you to sing Some of the Never Ending Story, the song, by Lima Hill Limel? Limel? I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and attempt it. So if you're seeing this, I decided not to cut it. So here we go. I'm going to sing the second verse. Gotcha. All right, no, I'm going to sing it. Just wanted to cut in here because I forgot one of the major questions. That's not cool. I can't do a contest. I'm not following the entries. And I've already done this, so I'm just going to cut this in here. All right, so what my favorite thing about summertime was, I didn't share that with you guys. So what was my favorite thing about summer? Well, my favorite thing about summer for a few summers was like in Stranger Things, where we had a pool called Boone Slick Pool that I would go in St. Charles when we lived in St. Charles, right across from St. Louis. I would go down there. I had a summer pass, just season pass. You go down there, you'd spend like $20 or whatever, and I'd go to the pool all the time in the summer. The other thing that I was looking forward to was always going to visit my friend Jeffrey, where we would sit around, and I've already talked about these NES games, but I was like, what did I have these games out for? As I'm sitting here cleaning up after doing this video, I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot a major thing. So I would go to my friend Jeff's, my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend, my cousin. And, you know, cousins are your first best friends, right? And we would play some NES, Legend of Zelda. Just showing you some Adventure of Link, Zelda 2 there. This was a huge one, guys. Super Mario 3, fantastic game. We'd play, now I got this for Christmas one year, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Yeah! Loved Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Also, Rygar, one of the best games on the Nintendo Entertainment System as well. And just for a bonus, I'm going to show you the absolute, there's a lot of people that say there's a lot of terrible games on the NES. This is hands down the worst game on the NES. I don't even know why I own it. I kind of want to set it on fire, but I also feel that it may have served its purpose right now in preventing you from ever buying George Foreman's KO Boxing. Do not do it. Don't do it. If you ever see it, don't do it. Or you can buy it and burn it to make sure that nobody ever has to play this game ever again. Anyway, one of my favorite things to do, go to the pool, go to my cousin Jeff's house, play some NES. So there you go. With no further ado, here I am in my beautiful angelic voice singing Lima Hill, I don't know how you say his name, The Never-Ending Story. Reach the stars, fly a fantasy, dream a dream, and what you see will be. Rhymes that keep their secrets will unfold beyond the clouds, and there upon a rainbow is the answer to a never-ending story. And that's what you get, all right? You guys, peace out. Have a great weekend. Keep digging them rekkids. We'll check in with you guys later. Don't slay me too bad in the comments, okay? Peace out, guys. Talk to you later. Have a great one.